Hola, hola, hello, buenos días, amigos, amigas, bienvenidos once again. Welcome to Lima, Peru. Welcome to my home and also to another session dedicated to Peru's history, Peru's beautiful destinations, learning also, understanding what is being Peruvian. And well, in every occasion, I take you to a different place or a different chapter of the history of this incredible country, this incredible part of the world, South America as well. My name is Vanessa Vasquez. I developed since back in 2020 lots of different historic events, live on the streets in Lima and in different parts of Peru. And also, alternatively, I do events from home like this. Every day, I try to bring you something new and different. And today, we are back to Puno. We're back to our series dedicated to this, high plateau city that is also one of the most important touristic zones in the country. And well, we already have covered different things about Puno. This is the third part of this series dedicated to the South Andes of Peru and the region of Puno in particular. We've seen together, well, the geography of the high plateau. We have learned also about the pre-Hispanic history of the high plateau. And now we're going to talk about, well, the colonial influences and how will those elements, the pre-Hispanic and the Spanish, also clash in this part of the Andean world, and well, how they end up being after so many years of mixing process. Nowadays. Hola Natalie, ¿qué tal amiga querida? ¿Cómo estás? How are you today? Thanks for being here, and also thanks to all my friends who are joining this live stream. Also, is going to be available for replay for the rest of the day, and tomorrow we have another one. So I hope you come also tomorrow. Let know your friends also that I'm streaming live almost every day from Lima. So before we begin, some reminders also. First of all, first reminder is that I have let's say a profile on Patreon, which is a great platform for content creators of different kinds. I have many good friends supporting also this project there, starting from $2 per month, 5, 10, and $20. You can also have an access to all the gallery of our previously done events. So I just saved them on Patreon, and we have a poll there. So to decide which is going to be, well, the which ones are going to be the upcoming events after we finish with this series dedicated to Peru. After Puno, we have the jungle, Iquitos in particular, and then, I'm just building up what to do. So, and here I see that there are some already like favorite ones to the public. But if you find out that you would like another one of these lists, please go there, click, choose your favorite. By the way, you don't need to be a sponsor to participate on this poll. Very good. So, and now I'll go now to the event. Mhm. And also, as always, first of all, your comments, questions are always welcome. There is a chat active for the whole event. I'm seeing also the chat in this moment, so feel free of commenting, of asking, of also suggesting if you find it like being a good time to do it. Upcoming titles for let's say next events. Also, you should be able to see images all the way until the end of this event. It's not just me talking, there will always be images. So if you don't see the images, please let me know. Sometimes YouTube disconnects from one moment to another the images. So when I refresh, like things go back to normal. Hola Manu, gracias por estar aquí. Hola amigo, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? So well, And now I think let's continue. This is part 3 of our series dedicated to Puno. So Puno is such a complex destination in the country. I mean, culturally talking, it's so rich, and well, Peru is not all the same. Peruvians are not all the same. Even the way how we speak, our accents are influenced not just by, let's say, climatic elements, the let's say the more recent history. Also, our accents, our way of speaking, are influenced by the pre-Hispanic languages that existed in different parts of this territory. So Puno is indeed very rich in that matter, because Puno has a rich pre-Hispanic history and two predominant languages that are, I'm not referring to the Spanish, I'm referring to indigenous languages, which also are in themselves like worlds, because the languages are themselves different worlds, different ways of seeing the reality around you. So the Quechua and Aymara. So, well, if you want to learn more about what happened before the Spanish, I have also an event already done about this topic. So we're starting our event from the point when the conquistadors arrived. And the arrival of the conquistadors changed everything in the, well, in the cosmos of the indigenous civilizations of the Americas. In the high plateau, a zone that already was predominantly complicated to live in an adaptation to the high plateau was quite extreme also. The Spaniards, when they came to this location, they didn't really see with very good eyes also living in that elevation. No, like we're talking about elevations over 3,900 meters in average, no, above sea level. So it was way too extreme for them. And Puno was created as a sort of like resting place, or sort of like a small village for Spaniards who were going on the way to what nowadays is Bolivia, the mines of Potosi, the silver mine of Potosi. So it was just a passageway, a pathway in direction to that location, which, by the way, in the colonial times, Bolivia was part of the viceroyalty known as Viceroyalty of Peru. It's not, by the way, that they were Peruvians, like in the sense of we understand nowadays the word Peruvians or being Peruvian. They belong to a viceroyalty that belonged to the Spaniards that was named Peru. So that's why we have so many things in common. So, well, the establishing of the first town of Spaniards in what nowadays is Puno, it happened in the year 1591. And the name given to this little town, very quite small town, was San Jose de Puno. So Puno comes from the word puñui or puñu or puñi, which means, well, place of rest or place to sleep. So since the pre-Hispanic times, this location was known as a place for resting. And why? Well, different characteristics. The high plateau is a very extreme territory, but this zone of the high plateau is close to the Titicaca Lake, and the bodies of water, in general, they regulate climates. Also, the temperature near the lake is better, is warmer at nighttime, is not so extreme. So there is a sort of like microclimate that is produced due to the proximity of this location. Also, the natural protection of hills around the city and its closeness to Titicaca Lake. So, well, since the beginning, this place was a site for resting for miners or people who were involved in the industry of exploitation of mines in the colonial times. Well, the time passed. Puno didn't really become rapidly a big city in comparison to Cusco. I mean, in the eyes of the Spaniards, no, because before Cusco was already a very important Incan city, or Lima also. That's another good example, I think, better than Cusco, because Lima was not really a big Incan city. It was a city, but it was not as important as Cusco was. And when the Spaniards came, they turned it into, well, the capital of this new viceroyalty. Well, previously, well, it was called the New Castile, and then the viceroyalty of Peru. So Puno continued being a small zone, a small community, until the mid 17th century. So initially, already this place was a zone in between, to go to the mining places in the Peru, in the Alto Peru. But later on, there's a very interesting story that says that the Spaniards, a group of Spaniards, led by the brothers Salcedo, that's the last name of these men, well, they discover silver in a zone very, very close to what nowadays is the city of Puno. In fact, some specialists mentioned that the mine of silver was in a hill, or close to a hill, that is few, like, let's say, meters away the main square of Puno. But that mine is gone. Later, I'll tell you a bit more about it. So the brothers Salcedo discovered this mine and established a new city, which was a few kilometers away to what nowadays is the center of the city of Puno. The name of this city was San Luis de Alba. San Luis de Alba. Also, this city was established in the year 1658. So, what happened with San Luis de Alba? Well, this is the only existent remain of that colonial city. Well, the city at some point had like such a big number of people. I remember reading that there were about 10,000 people that live in San Luis de Alba. And that's because of the success of the mine, the silver mine that existed, well, in this location. No? So more people were coming, and well, the nationality was in general was Spanish, from, let's say, from Basque land. They were also coming from different parts of Spain, but maybe mainly Bascos, especially, and well, and Andaluces also. Andaluces. So, and the indigenous that were also put to work in the extraction of the silver. So Puno has silver until these days. The silver is there. So what happened with this mine and also this little town? So for several years, these Spaniards sort of like made a lot of big fortune. The Salcedo brothers were probably the richest men of those days in Peru, and but seemed that they were trying to skip to pay certain taxes. And during that time, we had an authority in this territory that represented, or sort of like embodied, the king of Spain, the viceroy or vice king. And the vice king, well, lived in Lima, very, very far away from here. So, well, the king, noticing that there were some problems of the administration, in the administration of this territory, and fearing that because these people were so rich, they would like to maybe emancipate from the authority of Spain. So he decided to send a new viceroy with like tougher hand, rougher than the previous ones, the Count of Lemos, Conde de Lemos, and well, he put in his hands, well, the recovery of this territory. So well, that's why the viceroy had to travel to this location, and noticing that, well, the Salcedo brothers were indeed sort of like instigating certain type of separations and creating their own republica, in that part. So well, he decided to destroy the city also. And that's why we have almost nothing left from this San Luis de Alba town. Just some few like walls and arches and bridges also. The place is completely desolated. And here, well, another set of pictures that show also how, well, the Spaniards, because this was 100% made by Spaniards, by Castellanos. So how this place was made, so a different style of construction than the Incan and pre-Incan in the Andes, but functional also. And we know that, for example, about 100 persons were killed during these cleans that was produced by the Viceroy Conde de Lemos, including one of the Salcedo brothers also was killed. The few ones that didn't leave decided to stay now under the, of course, new authority of the Viceroy, and the community, entire community, was moved to what nowadays is the city of Puno. So remember, this place is just a few kilometers away from the center of Puno. And also there's a story, interesting story about a woman named Malika, and seems that this is more like a legend. There's no facts, like historic facts, about the existence of this woman. But Malika, according to the legend and tradition, was the woman who revealed to the Spaniards, to one of the Salcedo brothers, the existence of the silver mine, knowing that the Spaniards were looking for gold. That was really what they were aiming here in the Andes: gold, silver. So she, probably in love of this man, she revealed the existence of this mine. And when the Viceroy came and took prisoner the brothers and all his supporters, Malika participated in she had a plan. No, she said, like, if it's not from my men, it's not from for anyone. No, it's not for my people, it's not for them. No, so she decided to, by orders of her, by the way, to flood the mine with water from the Titicaca Lake. So that's why the mine was completely sealed by water, with the water. And we don't know exactly where the mine is. So tragic in one hand, but at the same time also we know, or at least the tradition says, there's still silver under the streets of Puno. So where exactly was the mine? So this is nowadays how Puno city looks like. And the Huacsapata hill, which is very close to the main square. Actually, from the hill, you can see, I think, in this group of buildings, there's a tower also coming out. I think close to my image. Sorry that my image, I cannot choose to move my image from that corner. But there is the cathedral. So this is how close is the hill. So it seems that the hill Huacsapata is the location where the mine used to be. And the mine was known as Laika Kota mine, Laika Kota town. That's a little bit of the story, the tragic story also of the silver mine of Puno, the place of rest, the place to sleep. So there is also an interesting, still standing evidence of the presence of, the Viceroy in Puno, and also all the story, this tragic story of the Salcedo brothers. There is a balcony known as the balcony of the Viceroy, or balcony of Conde de Lemos. And the story says, the tradition says, that there in that building, in that house, the Viceroy lived for the period of time he was here in Puno. So, this is also an old picture, also retouched with color, of the city of Puno. And so what happened after the arrival of the Viceroy? You know, Ray, that he decided to relocate the town existent, and move it into, the city of Puno nowadays. So the city also changed name. No longer San Luis de Alba. The next name given was Villa de Nuestra Señora de la Concepción de San Carlos. Quite long name. And in the year 1668 is when finally we have, the last foundation, the last Spanish foundation of this city. Well, nowadays we call the city Puno. That's it. Its name. And most of the Spanish names given to the cities in this territory were very long, or also were names of cities that existed in Spain, like that's the case of Trujillo, for example. Um, but well, later on, well, those names shrank or became like it was more popular to use the pre-Hispanic name originally given to the towns. And that's how, well, these names simplify over the course of time. So the character of Puno, well, I'm talking about the identity of the people of Puno. They are so proud of their history, of their heritage, and they live, I think, in perfect harmony, in perfect harmony, like between their pre-Hispanic roots and the pride of being indigenous, and also the Spanish influence, the religion, the Catholic faith, the Catholic traditions. They have created a perfect balance in their cosmos, in their mind. An example of that, for example, is the local symbols. For example, on the left-hand side, you can see, well, the flag of Puno, the flag of the city of Puno, very Spanish also, or with towers and with, the coat of arm. And also, originally, the part behind the towers was the Titicaca Lake, but eventually the flag sort of like became more and more simplified, and no more Titicaca Lake in the shield. And the towers were sort of like bastions, three of them existing around the city. We're going to see also some of them, or at least the locations of them at some point in the series. And the blue color on top represents the beautiful blue sky that you see in Puno almost every day of the year. And the blue in the sky there is the bluest that you can see, I think, in the whole country. Because the higher you go, also there's less oxygen, and that also produces an effect of more like a, I don't know, like a bluer sky. So, and the nighttime also is so beautiful. You see the Milky Way, you see the stars. So it's incredible. And the other flag also shows the indigenous traditions, the identity as indigenous. There you see the chacana, the Andean cross, which chacana actually means bridge in Quechua. Is sort of like a connector between worlds. What the blue again represents the Titicaca Lake, represents the sky also. And you see that inside the Chacana, the Andean cross, there is this sort of like a division of two sides, and sort of like, well, the idea of the duality, the Andean duality, up and down, unin and hanan, day and night. Well, in this case, this duality, the intention of representing the duality in this flag, which, by the way, this is not the flag of the city of Puno, this is the flag of the department of Puno, which is a much larger extent of territory. Represents the two most important indigenous identities of this territory, the Quechua and the Aymara. So these are the two most important indigenous traditions, which are not the same at all, actually. They are different elements and conducts and ways of being, ways of seeing the world, which is amazing. Like when you meet an Aymara woman, for example, and an Quechua woman, they have complete different ways of behaving and acting, and they are in both cases tough and hardworking. So it's incredible. Well, so this is what it represents. These two flags show you also their love for their past, their heritage, and the embrace also they have given to these interesting, opposed at some moments as well, traditions. But here somehow, well, they are in perfect balance, as I said before, in harmony. So, what about the city of Puno? Let's say its temperature. Well, what would you expect in winter and in summer in terms of the climate? Well, in summertime, Puno has a maximum temperature. This is the city of Puno, that goes around 16 degrees Celsius. Okay, and in my previous series, we're talking about the coast, no, the north coast of Peru. Temperatures go up to 31 degrees Celsius, so the sensation can be even hotter sometimes. And the humidity is high. In contrary, here in the high plateau, in the altiplano of Peru, and consider that Puno has a more mild temperature because we are right next to the Titicaca Lake and protected by hills. So it can be even more extreme. Exactly, Manu. so, so a warm summer day will be around 57 degrees Fahrenheit to 61 Fahrenheit. Okay. And what about the minimum in winter in Puno? If you're heading to Puno in winter, and keep in mind, winter here in Peru, the season officially is in the middle of the year. So that's the winter time for us in Peru. So while in North America, if you're tuning from North America or from Europe, that is the hottest season. For us, well, we are in the winter season, and here is like true winter. -1 degree Celsius, that's about 30 Fahrenheit. And well, the climate is not just cold, also is dry. And that really is better because when you're in a humid cold, like the cold gets into your, I don't know, into your, you feel it in the bone. Oh, it's so cold. But when it's a dry climate, you just put it some, good layers of clothes, and you forget about the cold. So, and what we are seeing here also, this is the main square of Puno. The cathedral is the building that you have in front. And well, the cathedral has some particularities. First of all, its orientation is to the sunrise. And well, it's unusual. Usually, the cathedrals, they are looking to, so far I know, to Holy Land. But this cathedral is precisely like positioned to see the sunrise, which is very interesting. Like it shows also that pre-Hispanic concept also of honoring and worshiping probably the sun that was still there. But we don't know exactly why, because this is a Catholic building. But there is also another possibility why the cathedral is looking in this direction, because cathedrals and the main churches established by the conquistadors during the colonial times were most of the times built over pre-Hispanic temples, over existent temples, as a part of the or process of the evangelization of the indigenous. So the intention was like sweeping away all the pre-Hispanic beliefs, and what could be the best way to tell them, to show them without words, that their faith was already dominated by the new one. Well, putting a church over their sacred sites. And the historians mentioned that it existed already in this location a temple known as Supay Cancha. Supay, according to the translation of Quechua into Spanish, and then, well, now into English for you, Supay has been translated as devil or demon, no, diablo, demonio. So the Spaniards understood the word supay as devil. So the translation would be supay cancha. The place, cancha is like a flat or is a space or a place of the devil, the place of the devil. Okay. Um, on top, well, the church was built. And this church took several years to be finished. Finally, in the year 1757, it was finished. And in the exterior, you see the facade. It looks very baroque. It's very baroque, very, very beautiful, very carved. The inside, it is definitely more modest if you compare it to churches in Cusco, in Lima, in Arequipa, for example. But there is a reason. The church used to have lots of Baroque art inside. Lots of Baroque art, lots of paintings and decorations. Sadly, there was a tragedy that occurred in the 1930s, a fire that destroyed the interior of the church and had to be restored, renovated, and well, the art inside don't really reflects how this church used to be originally. But the intention of like, bringing like modernity also made the church inside itself very interesting. There are lots of beautiful lights on the top that are going pointing in direction to the rooftop, and according to the time in the year, to the liturgy of the day, the color of the roof changes from purple, light blue, green, etc. Mhm. So let's continue to another important church. And of course, we just can hit the highlights of every place I take you. I promise to go back to these places soon, and bring you more new places, and show you more of Peru. But well, in this occasion, we will just talk about two churches of the city of Puno, and another one, definitely another very important one, is the temple or church of San Juan, which is home of the Virgin of Candelaria, the Virgin of the Candle, the Virgin that is considered the patron protector of the people of Puno, one of the allegories or representations of the Virgin Mary, basically. The church from the exterior, by the way, it is located in front of Parque Pino, also another important park in the city of Puno. From the exterior, looks also very, very interesting, very attractive. To me, it feels a little bit like Gothic, or a neo-Gothic style. But once you go inside, the walls are painted as if you were sort of like flying above the clouds. So it's a real like representation, the most real you can see, you can have, of Virgin Mary elevated in the skies. And there you see the Virgen de Candelaria, which was she's taken in procession also in January, February. That is the time of the year when we have a big important celebration in Puno, and actually is in February the 2nd, when she is taken into procession and is a party. But the party starts at the end of January. That is the festival of Candelaria. So in tomorrow, I think tomorrow we will be, because well, time is short today, we will be talking about the Candelaria festival and how it is lived in this part of the country. So well, here you can see the viewpoints of the city of Puno. There are actually several viewpoints officially recognized as such, because well, Puno is surrounded by lots of hills, but the ones that I consider also most interesting for photography making, especially, are two. Well, there's one more also, Huacsapata Hill, which the one with the Inca, also where the silver mine used to be. That's one. And here in the picture you see two. Okay, even though you see three pictures. Why? Because we have the viewpoint of the Puma, which has also in the bottom part of the Puma a big snake. Well, that's also another important element related with the pre-Hispanic way of religion of our ancestors. So we have the puma, we have the snake, and there is another viewpoint of the condor. And evidently you have a gigantic condor there. You can go also to the top to take a picture from it, of the city. So, well, the symbols of the pre-Hispanic tradition, of the religion, even though Puneños, people from Puno, embrace so much their Catholicism and their Catholic faith, they also keep alive their pre-Hispanic traditions. They keep alive their love for the past, or for the symbols of the past. And there you have also these elements that represent the upper world, this world, and the underworld, that are also represented in the chacana, in the Andean cross, because on each side of the chacana, there are 3 steps. And those 3 steps represent, well, the 3 worlds: upper world, condor; this world where we live, puma; and the underworld, the snake. Also, please let me know if you can see me correctly, if you see the images, if there's any problem with the internet. I see also we have people connected, and hopefully you are seeing everything and hearing me. So I just disconnected for a moment the pictures. I'm going back just in case, refreshing a bit of the of the images. Well, also another curiosity about the city of Puno is one of the preferred modes of transportation we have there. And this is more like in a touristic, let's say, as a touristic approach. If you ever go to Puno, don't miss the chance of riding a tricycle cab or a tricy taxi, well, a taxi on a tricycle. And it is amazing how the people of Puno have the vitality and have fully understand it also, like, and embrace their elevation and understanding also as a business opportunity, well, the use of these tricycles to mobilize tourists. Um, so the vitality of these people close to 4,000 meters above sea level is well, I don't know how can I describe that. And I emphasize in this because I am from Lima. I live at the sea level, and you have no idea how tough sometimes is to adapt to those elevations. Those Mercedes Benz. Exactly, Manu. And they are so colorful. They are so pretty. No, they are so like, and these owners of these tricycabs, they have, well, implemented like decorations, and they try really to make the experience of visitors, well, the best they can. Okay, and why would you use, or when would you use the tricycabs as a tourist? Because, well, Puno is a small town, it's a small city. So you can walk everywhere you need. Like from a hotel, you can walk to the bank, you can walk to the market, to the plaza, to the museums in the town. You don't really need a tricycab. Maybe you can need a tricycab if you're going to Titicaca Lake to take a boat to visit the Uros, for example, or the Uros community that lives on floating islands of reed. Or if you're going also to the same port, to the dock, to take let's say, a boat, or a speedboat to one of the islands located in the lake, like Taquile, for example. So great, let's say, way of uh, sort of like adapting to the necessity of tourists. Because even though like everything is walking distance, 2 blocks away, 3 blocks away, yeah, it's nothing. Well, when you are over 3,800 meters above sea level, even three blocks can be a little bit tough. Very good. And also, I would like to mention a bit more about well, the diversity in this part of the country, in Puno, and how many languages also are spoken in Peru. We have 40 official languages spoken in Peru, besides Spanish, so indigenous languages to this territory, and some of them are spoken by less than 100 people, and those are sadly languages in the jungle, in territories that are, since the, let's say, mid 20th century, zones that are slowly being abandoned by the communities, with the intention, the young people especially, with the intention of migrating towards the big cities. Why? Because they want to become professionals, because they want to go to a university, because they want to find works also and support their families. So there's a sudden process of, let's say, emigration from those locations. And when you go to a big city, you stop using the indigenous language. You stop passing it also to the next generation, because it's not necessary, or at least that's what most people feel when they abandon their towns and go to a new place. And that is the same case, for example, with Latino Americans. I've seen Peruvians, relatives of mine, going to, let's say, the United States, oh, and they have children there, and my let's say nephews or nieces, they don't speak Spanish. And I asked, like, why they don't speak Spanish? Oh, because, well, like, everybody speaks English, and I don't want them to have an accent when they go to school. Also, it's better to just, like, immerse them in the language, in English. So, and that's the way it is. So it's exactly the same situation here in this territory. That's why so many people for generations stop teaching their traditional languages to their kids, and now we have kids that have no idea about those languages. So, well, but I think that the two most important languages spoken by the biggest amount of people in Peru, besides Spanish, are thriving, doing quite good, and there are also lots of like positive thoughts about the future of those languages. And I hope that that's going to be spread over with the other languages too. Which ones are those languages? Quechua. And Quechua is spoken by over 3 million people in Peru. It's more or less the tenth of the population, 1 in 10 person. So because Peru has about 31 million inhabitants, and over 3 million speak Quechua. But also Quechua is a language that it has different roots, different variations. You have the Quechua Chanca, for example, the Quechua from Cusco, the Northern Quechua, because those are languages that also evolved in their own territories with their own situations for thousands of years. So Quechua is a very old language. And the other language that is also very important is the Aymara. And you can see also a sign, this is a banner or sign or pamphlet from the government informing that in this moment, about 444,000 people speak Aymara in Peru. So that's about, in this moment, maybe 500,000 Peruvians speak Aymara. Because the number goes bigger of Aymara speaking people if you consider Bolivia, for example. In Bolivia, there are even more people speaking Aymara, and the north of Chile and the north of Argentina. There are like little patches there also of people who speak Aymara. And Quechua. Quechua is also like more, even in other countries, Argentina, Chile, and Bolivia, there are also people nowadays speaking Quechua. And there is another, let's say, subdivision of Quechua in Ecuador, but they don't speak Quechua, they speak Quichua. Quichua. And also it's a variation. Also, probably like people who speak Quechua in Puno or in Cusco don't understand what an Ecuadorian Quechua will be. No? So, well, so this is it for today. Thank you very much for being with me in today's event. We have for tomorrow way more. We will talk about the life in the Titicaca Lake. We'll talk about life in Taquile and also the festivity of Candelaria, very important festivity also that happens here in Peru, in Puno, every year on February. So thank you so much. I want to take just a minute to thank to my supporters on Patreon. Patreon is a platform that has also helped me to create lots of events since the beginnings of the world pandemic. I created my Patreon, then I stopped doing Patreon, and now I'm back. And I have many friends who supported me back then and continue supporting me now. So special thanks to my supporters on Patreon. Your donations also help a lot to continue doing these events. Also, I have some supporters via PayPal. So thank you so much to my supporters on PayPal. You really make the difference. And any donation is highly, highly appreciated. Also, I'm leaving a QR code if you wish to see how to do it on PayPal. And also, you can support by giving a like, by commenting, by sharing, and also by participating anytime there is an event. You are more than welcome to join me. So I'm going to stop sharing here. Gracias again, amigos. Here also is pinned the link to Patreon if you wish to also participate on the poll, because I have all my calendar of activities until mid December. And then after, I am building what we're going to be doing, what we will be discussing also in our subsequent events here on YouTube. Gracias a todos. Thank you so much, Natalie, for being here. Manu, gracias, querido. Gracias, amigo, for being here, for your participation. And see you tomorrow. See you soon. See? Ciao, ciao. Best to you all. Take care. Have a good day. Buen día para todos. Ciao.